So now it's time to review some risky drinking behaviors. So what do we mean by that? Sometimes when you drink, there are just certain situations that you should avoid or certain things you shouldn't quite do because they're considered risky when you're drinking. The first one of those is drinking past your perfect buzz. There's a reason why we recommend the perfect buzz for you and your personal drink count. It's because when you're at that point in your BAC before between 0.05 and 0.07, you're getting so many good the benefits of alcohol instead of all of the drawbacks. So we really recommend, if you do choose to drink, to stay in that range because that's really the best thing you can do for yourself. So another risky drinking behavior is drinking just to get drunk. I know a lot of people who love to say, I'm going to go out and get wasted tonight. I'm going to get so drunk, I'm not going to remember anything. Okay, well, that's actually risky drinking behavior, and that's stupid. Because when you're just drinking to get drunk, you might be trying to numb something, you might be trying to make yourself different than from what you are, and that's risky because nobody's gonna like you if you're trying to be someone else. You need to just be yourself. And also, if you're drinking just to forget your problems, let me tell you, the next morning they're still there and you've got a hangover. So drinking just to get drunk is usually not a good idea for you, your life, or your body. So that's a risky drinking behavior. Also, drinking shots can be pretty risky. So as we talked about before, that 1.5 ounce of 80 proof liquor is the same standard drink as a 12-ounce bottle of beer. So unless you're chugging the beer really fast, you can usually drink shots faster than you can a beer. So usually when people are drinking shots, they drink a lot of them at once or they drink them really quickly. So they can be risky because that means that your BAC is shooting up quicker than it normally would. You're ingesting way more alcohol in a given amount of time than you would if you were not drinking shots. So those can be a bit risky if you decide to drink a lot of shots. Playing drinking games. Playing drinking games can be risky, mainly because the whole point of drinking games are really just to get you drunk, which I hate that because I love drinking games. I think that they're a lot of fun. I like to play beer pong. It's a fun game, although I'm really, really bad at it. However, drinking games are a bit risky because it's the same thing. You're drinking a lot of alcohol in a short amount of time. So I recommend still play them, but either cheat or drink water instead. So for instance, if you're going around and it's a waterfall, instead of chugging your whole beer or drinking a bunch of shots, drink some water or go, sip, I'm done. It's an easy way to still get all the fun and socialness of playing the drinking games without getting yourself completely plastered in a short amount of time. So, try that. Drinking and driving. That is obviously risky drinking behavior. As we talked about before, once you get to 0.08, your vision is messed up and also your reaction time isn't good. So you're putting yourself and other people at risk of getting injured or even death. So it's really a risky behavior to drink at all and drive. I always recommend either a cab or a DD. So please utilize those things and don't drink and drive. So drinking and engaging in physical activities, dangerous activities, what I mean by that is drinking and doing stupid stuff. So alcohol has this effect on you where it makes you feel like you're really invincible, like you can kind of do anything. That is a lie. A lot of people get hurt. Actually, the number one thing that college students get put in the hospital for, the reason alcohol is so dangerous for them is because they go and do stupid things and they end up with a broken leg, maybe some cuts. They get really badly injured and they have to go to the emergency room. So drinking and doing stupid stuff is definitely a risky drinking behavior, and I'd recommend that you try not to do anything really dumb when you've been drinking or have someone to tell you not to do that. So the next one is drinking alone. So drinking alone can be a risky drinking behavior because sometimes when you're by yourself, if you end up drinking more than you originally planned, you can maybe give yourself alcohol poisoning and no one's there to help you. Some people also, if they drink alone, they get really depressed. So alcohol does act as a depressant. So you need to be careful when you're drinking alone. It's better to drink with people, even if it's only one person, a friend. That's usually better than drinking by yourself. So also, drinking in a novel environment is a risky drinking behavior. Now, what we mean by a novel environment is in some place new. So alcohol is really interesting. There's something called alcohol expectancy. So what that means is your body and your mind know based on your situation how alcohol is supposed to make you feel. So, for instance, if I'm drinking at home with one of my good friends watching a movie on Netflix and I have 2 glasses of wine, I may feel real relaxed, a little giggly, but, pretty much not trying to go wild. Maybe if I have 2 drinks of wine, when I'm out at PRs, I'm ready to dance. I'm ready to get silly. Alcohol affects you differently based on what situation you're in. So if you're in a completely new situation, it doesn't really know how you're supposed to react to that yet, especially if you're also drinking with people that you don't know, which is coming up here in a minute. So we recommend that you drink a little bit less than you normally would, a little bit less than your personal drink count, because you might feel more intoxicated than you actually are because you're in that new situation. Also, drinking in a remote location. Again, if something were to happen and there's an alcohol emergency, if you're somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, you can't really get help. So you need to be in a place where you can get some help if you need it. Drinking on an empty stomach. This is a big one. Food is your friend when you're drinking. It's good to eat before, during, and after your night out of drinking because the food in your stomach slows down the absorption of the alcohol in your body. So it's a good thing to have that food in there to kind of slow things down, although you will still eventually reach that BAC because based on how many drinks you had, you're still going to have that high BAC, but it just kind of slows down the absorption so it's not hitting you all at once. It gives you some time to kind of process it, and that's a good thing because if you do drink on an empty stomach, as soon as you're drinking, it goes right into your system and you get really drunk really fast, and that's no fun. So it's good to not drink on an empty stomach. We talked about this a minute ago, drinking with people that you don't know. Again, it's kind of that novel environment and the alcohol expectancy. You don't know how your body's going to react to that. And also, if you're drinking with people you don't know, your inhibitions are going to be lowered and you don't really know those people, so you could lead yourself into a dangerous situation. So try and at least have one person that you know with you if you're going to be drinking with a bunch of new people. Mixing alcohol and drugs is obviously a risky drinking behavior. Drugs, especially depressants, because alcohol is also a depressant. If you take, a Xanax as well as you're drinking, that really depresses your body so much in your respiratory system in particularly, and you can slow down your breathing so much that you might just stop breathing. So it's really not a good idea to mix alcohol and other drugs. Drinking and having sex is, you would think that people would know this is a risky drinking behavior. Just for obvious reasons. You have the lowered inhibitions. You might decide to hook up with someone that you wouldn't normally. Your vision's messed up. You might hook up with someone that you thought was pretty or attractive, and they ended up, you're not attracted to them. And there they are the next morning, and you're like, oh, shoot. That actually isn't a good idea. But also, drinking and having sex is not a good idea because after your BAC passes the legal limit, so after 0.08, you cannot give or get consent for sex because you are technically legally impaired. So you cannot legally give consent for sex or get it from someone else because you were drunk. So as you can probably see from that, that could lead into issues of sexual assault and rape because of how much alcohol that you've had. And it's that legal limit that you have to stay under in order to legally give consent or get consent. So keep that in mind.